Hi everyone and welcome to Protocol 36, and in today's video I'll be listing up the top 10 suits that are needed for Marvel Spider-Man 2. A couple years ago, just after I started this channel actually, I did make a video about the top 5 suits I want in Marvel Spider-Man 2, but with the game coming out next year, and while that video being old, I wanted to this time include even more suits that I want for the sequel. And since we know that the black suit will most likely be in the game, thanks to Venom's appearance in the trailer, I'm not going to include that, an advanced suit version of it, or suits that we got in Spider-Man PS4. But if you're wondering, there will be other versions of the black suit in the list. Before we get started, I just want to apologize for not uploading for over 2 weeks now. Trust me, a lot happened during that time, from being ill again, and now thankfully getting a new job. But now it's all good, and we'll continue to make more videos for you guys. So if there's any point you enjoy this video, I really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out the channel. Thank you. Now let's get into this. Okay, so starting off with number 10, in no particular order, that is Assassin Spider-Man. In my opinion, the Assassin Spider-Man suit is one of the most underrated Spider-Man suits ever. And even though it shares a lot of similarities with other suits, the way it's illustrated in the comics as well as the history behind the suit is also pretty interesting and cool, where this version of Spider-Man didn't go back to New York after the events of the Spider-Man vs. Wolverine comic back in the main 616 story, but chose to stay in Europe with Logan to rescue a girl called Alex, and was trained as an assassin and is willing to kill in that timeline. As far as I know, this suit hasn't shown up in any Spider-Man games except for the Spider-Man Unlimited mobile game, but not in terms of console games, so I think adding this suit would be a very nice addition to Marvel Spider-Man 2. And even though this suit won't have anything to do with the story, with Bill Roseman's confirmation that the story will be darker, I think this would be the perfect time to add that suit. Number 9, the 2006 suit from Spider-Man Life Story. Even though the comic book story Spider-Man Life Story has a lot of great Spider-Man suits, in my opinion none of them stands out like the one he wears in issue 5. For those of you who don't know Spider-Man Life Story, it's basically about Peter's life as he ages in real time, each issue covering a specific decade told in the 616 comics. So for example, in issue 1 basically covered the 1960s, specifically when he was in college, and kinda adapted that era in the issue. Issue 2 covered the 70s, issue 3 the 80s, and so on. It's a really good read, so I recommend you guys to check it out. But in issue 5, when Peter fights Iron Man and his team, because it was during the Civil War era, Captain America and the other heroes came in to help. Peter quickly went into Parker Industries to wear a new suit to help them, as well as to later fight Merlin to protect his family. And in my opinion, this design is so sick and pretty underrated. And Peter also uses it to short circuit not only Iron Man's suit but also his other teammates' suits as well, which could also be implemented into the game as a suit power. I also believe it's one of the few Peter Parker suits that has a hoodie, which will make it different from the others. So the Spider-Man suit from Life Story issue 5, definitely a must have in my opinion. Number 8, the original black suit. Even though this suit was never used as the official suit for the symbiote and was designed by a fan back when the Secret Wars comic book was coming out, but in my opinion this suit is pretty underrated. I know it's basically the exact same suit, just the red swapped out with white, but in my opinion it does really make a huge difference. Plus with us getting the black suit in the sequel, it would also be sick to add the OG black suit design into it too, to show some love and respect, and could also serve as a replacement for the dark suit as well. Number 7, the Poison Spider-Man suit from Venomverse. This suit looks amazing. It's basically Peter Parker with a black suit but is infected by an organism called Poisons in the story called Venomverse, which takes place in a completely different universe. In my opinion, even though it does corrupt Spider-Man in the story, it is one of the best designs for the character, with the black tentacles sticking out, the way the mask looks, especially the lenses, and the massive black spider logo, which just looks perfect. And I really hope it ends up being in Marvel Spider-Man 2. Number 6, Spider-Man Unlimited. This is a suit I did talk about in one of my previous videos about if we will get an animated Spider-Man suit in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I did mention how out of the other suits, Insomniac will most likely choose this one. It's obviously yet to be seen for now, and given how unique it looks, especially compared to the other Spider-Man suits, with the cape, the patterns, and etc., I do believe it deserves to be in it. And even though Spider-Man Unlimited may not be as popular as other Spider-Man shows like the 90s series or Spectacular, I do think showing it a bit of love would be neat. Plus the cell shading would look awesome. Number 5, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. It's the suit everyone wants. I want it, you want it, and even though it's a bit confusing on why it wasn't in Spider-Man PS4 like the other main live action Spider-Man suits, especially when to a lot of people it's the best looking Spider-Man suit in the movies, I do hope and believe they will finally add it in the sequel. And it would be better now, as we just saw the suit again in Spider-Man No Way Home, so hopefully it does get added this time, especially now that Insomniac most likely knows how much people want that suit. Another suit from Spider-Man No Way Home that is also needed in Marvel Spider-Man 2 is of course number 4, Tom Holland's classic suit we saw at the end of the film. This is my personal favorite Spider-Man suit in live action. It's literally perfect and the most comic accurate looking suit ever. When one that I hope becomes Tom Holland's definitive look in the MCU, and one suit I would personally love to see in Insomniac's brand new game. I know it looks very similar to the classic suit from the first game, given how accurate both suits are, but also given the significance behind the suit towards the ending of the film, and canonically taking inspiration from both Tobey and Andrew's versions, I don't see why it shouldn't be in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And to be honest, we might not even see the suit again until after the game has already came out. So Insomniac, if you're watching, which I doubt you are, but still, please add this suit into the game. Number 3, Superior Spider-Man, specifically the second version. Superior Spider-Man is also another suit I was kind of shocked that didn't make it into the first game, though I do believe that the reason why it was left out was because of Otto's huge role in the story. I don't know if Insomniac has any plans to adapt the arc in their games, but I wouldn't be surprised as Otto wasn't killed off. And they do borrow some stuff from Dan Slott's Spider-Man run, so they might do the same here. But if they end up adapting the story, I do see them doing it in a massive DLC pack or something like that, which would be how we get the suit. But personally, I would love it to just be an unlockable suit, as it's one of my favorite Spider-Man suits, and the last time it appeared in the game was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in game, so I really wanted someone to give this suit the love it deserves. Number 2, the Sensational Spider-Man suit. This is pretty much the only classic Ben Reilly suit that we never got in Marvel Spider-Man, not included the Beyond suit, which obviously came out pretty recently. I initially thought, like everyone else, that Insomniac might add the suit into the DLCs, but obviously that didn't happen. So hopefully, given how requested it is by fans, that it is one of the early unlockable suits, like how the Scarlet Spider was in the first game, or even the pre-order suit, which would be sick, because it is a suit that for some reason doesn't really get a lot of love. So right now I'm just praying that they add that suit into the game. And last but certainly not least, number 1, the Black Raimi suit from Spider-Man 3. I think this is also everyone's number 1 suit for Marvel Spider-Man 2, especially when it was the same for the original Raimi suit. And even though a lot has happened during that period, I hope this suit is just in the game from the start. I know a lot of people would say it's just the Raimi suit but black, and at first glance they would be right, but there's a few details on it that makes a huge difference, like the spider logos that look more aggressive and a little bigger as well as the lenses being more shiny too. Spider-Man 3 was the first Spider-Man film I saw in theaters, so adding that suit would bring a lot of great memories for me personally. So I hope it is something Insomniac has at least considered when adding the unlockable suits for their most anticipated sequel. So there we have it, top 10 suits that are needed for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Beware, this is just my opinion, so if there's a suit that I haven't mentioned but you wanted, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know your own lists, and I might even include them in a part 2. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and one more subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.